We're going to have a look at how to edit an audio clip in Ableton and do the similar things that we did in Logic. The steps for editing are quite similar, but the tools are slightly different. So for instance, in Ableton, you don't have a remove silence function, but if you wanted to remove silence, you'd have to manually do it. Let's have a listen to this part and remove the silence. So if I wanted to remove this section of silence, for example, I can either drag select, so I hold here and I drag to the right with my mouse, and I can either press 0 to deactivate the clip, or I can just press delete. And then here at the clip edges, there's a little icon over here that you can use to add fades, and you can just drag here to the side to create a fade. Okay, now if I want to get this to start on the bar, I can either just drag this all the way to the left, let go, or I can click here and use my left arrow key to shift the clip, or if I want to shift it faster, what I can do is I can change the grid. So you can use Command 1 and Command 2 to change the grid. Now, the grid size is represented in the corner over here. So now I'm on seeing 8th note grid. If I press Command 1, the grid size will get smaller. So see, it's now 16th note. So now you see the divisions here, they're smaller. So now if I press left arrow key, it shifts only by 16th notes. If I press Command 2, I increase the grid size. So now we're back to 8th notes. And now we're on to quarter notes. And now we're on to half notes. And now we're just on whole notes. So now if I press left, I can get it to be straight on the grid in one click. So very useful to know this key command of Command 1 and Command 2. Now, if you want to get triplet grid sizes, you press Command 3. See the bottom corner? There's a T now, so it's quarter note triplets. Okay, so that's the triplet grid. If I press Command 3 again, it's off. Quarter note grid, quarter note triplets. Another way you can move the playhead, if I just click here, if I press left, you see how the playhead is moving left to right. If I press right, if I change the division, so now we're on triplets, let's change the division to half notes. And then you can paste stuff here. You could copy, for example, I could copy this, Command C, and I could move the cursor with my arrow here, press Command V. So let's create a new audio file and place it on the bar of the grid. And I'm just going to make a cut here, so Command E to split the clip. And I'm going to place this whole clip from here, and let's see how we can get it to work together. So first I'll take the clip, I'll use my left arrow key to get it on the grid. There we go, and then I'll move this as well. So this is just followed up with the arrow key. So I want it to end here on bar 20. So what I'll do is I'll change the division. I'll cut a small segment here. Command E to split the clip here. So I'll just drag it down here, and now it is on the grid. Now, if for any reason I have an awkward size like this, now if you press Command and you drag it off the grid. You get it into finer subdivision. So if I have the clip like this, where it's slightly extending, I can just place my cursor here, Command E to split the clip, select that edge part, and delete it. Now I would add a fade here, and I would actually add a fade between the two regions so that the transition is smooth. So I've got a fade at the beginning, at the transition, at the end here. For this clip, I would drop the gain to 0 like how I would in Logic. And I would first rename this first clip. Let's say we rename it as guitar edit. Now in Ableton, if I join these clips, if I use the command J function, it's going to join the clips and normalize it. Now in Ableton, you can't control the normalize value. In Logic, you had the option to set it to -3 dB, but in Ableton, I haven't found the option to control what the normalization amount peak value should be. So by default, it's set to 0 dB. So now if I press Command J, I'm going to get a new audio file. The silence is there. The fade has been activated at the beginning here, at the end here. And if you look here at the bottom, this -4.74. If I double click this, at this point here, this is where it hits 0 dB. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm just going to solo this. I'm going to play this. And we can have a look at the meter. See, it's hit 0 dB over there. So when I join, I also create a new audio file. So I can right click on this or control click, press show in browser, and it's created a new audio file here, the guitar edit. So what I tend to do to keep it clean is I will rename first from the clip. So I will Command R on the clip, and then I will remove this extra text here, highlight, copy, enter, come here, Command R, Command V, and the clip has been renamed. Now similarly, you can organize your samples in Ableton straight into the project. So my file is kept in the samples folder of the project, under processed, under consolidate. But I could right click under the samples, create a new folder, let's say guitar, and I could drag the consolidated file into the guitar section, and this has now got its own folder. So if I click in Finder, I've created a new folder in the project, in the Ableton project. Okay, so there's the Ableton project. I double click, samples, guitar. This is how you can keep your project files organized in Ableton. Or if you wanted, you could shift this to your Ableton user library. And you can actually do it straight from this grid here. So I could take the file and I could drag it into my user library, put it into the guitar section, and it will start referencing the file from here. Okay, so what if you want to change the gain of, let's say, a section that seems too soft relative to all the other sections? Instead of normalizing, I would actually manually change the gain in Ableton. So let's say I wanted to make this little section over here louder. I could select, press Command E to split the clip out, and then I would be able to just manually drag the gain from here, from the gain slider here. Or let's say I wanted this part here to increase in gain, and I could increase the gain here like this. Select all, press Command J. I'm going to make the fade a little bit more extreme here. So if I select everything now, I use Shift click to select all the clips, and then I press Command J. I've got that whole new part there, and it's been normalized at the source level. So that's how you edit a file in Ableton. You have to manually increase the level of the gain. If you want to increase the section of the audio's gain, then to line it up, you can drag it using the command 1 or 2 or 3 to put it on the right grid. And then to remove silences, you have to sort of manually select, and you can either delete or you can press 0. And then you can right click to show in browser to see where the file is, and then shift it around here in the browser to whatever location you want it to be at.